Hey everybody, it's Jay Woods here with your Pokemon Fact of the Day, and this is likely the biggest episode of Fact of the Day that I will ever do. I've been really excited to do this for a long time. It's taken me about this long to get all the materials that I needed together, but I'm finally going to tackle the banned anime episodes for the Pokemon show. Now, I've talked about some banned material before, mostly the trading card game and the trading card game art, and you guys were really interested in that. There's something about just learning that there was stuff that was held back for the United States audience that makes it very mysterious and compelling. So I decided to talk about the biggest obstacle of them all, trying to gather all of the banned episodes for the Pokemon anime show. Now, I finally have gotten most of the main material, and I think that I've got a great episode together that you guys should be really excited about. Now, as a kid, I was probably the perfect age to be a Pokemon fan. I was around 10, 11 years old. I was pretty savvy with media, so I had all kinds of Pokemon magazines, and I read the internet as frequently as I could, as primitive as the internet was, to learn anything that I could about Pokemon. I was crazy about the show, so I wanted to learn anything that I could. And so quickly I learned about these banned episodes. People talked about them, but there was no way for me to actually watch the episodes. The internet was by no means this machine that it is today. You couldn't really watch video on it, and let alone full episodes of things. So at the time, all I could really do was say, hey, I know about these banned episodes, and I was never really able to talk about them. However, as things have progressed, we have a much greater grasp of all the media in the world, and I've finally been able to track down all these banned episodes so that I can talk to you guys about them. I think it's going to be an exciting trip, so let's stop listening to me and get right to the episodes. Let's go.
Starting off at number 5 are episodes banned due to cultural sensitive happenings. These aren't really banned episodes, but they're ones that are either delayed or put off air because they're unintentionally similar to a current devastating event. In the United States, 2 episodes were taken off the air for a while due to the September 11th terrorist attacks in the World Trade Center. The first, Tentacool and Tentacruel, was taken off the air because scenes where Tentacruel terrorizes a city. Ironically, this scene's an iconic part of the opening theme song to this show, which wasn't altered or cut in any way. Whoops. The second, Tower of Terror, contains nothing that I'm able to see as offensive to the attack of the Twin Towers. It's a really fun episode, and I think the only reason it was taken off the air for a while was because of the title, Tower of Terror. In Japan, an episode involving Barbaroach and Whiscash was taken off the air in 2004 due to similarities to a real-life earthquake. This episode had complete animation and voice acting, but it was never released in or outside of Japan in any media since. Currently, Japan has skipped the highly anticipated 2-part series, Team Rocket vs. Team Plasma, due to Castelia City's destruction. This was seen a little insensitive to the recent earthquake and tsunami in Japan, and the episode unfortunately hasn't been re-aired yet. It was hyped and many fans were excited to see it, and while no date has been given to re-air it past the original March release, Japan has slated that they have intents to release it eventually. Number 4 is the Jinx episodes. This one doesn't really need the episodes to be explained, but the controversy is this. After an article was written disagreeing with the way Jinx is portrayed, many equal rights activists push Pokemon to drop the episode Holiday Hijinks from the air. The episode, which is bizarre in itself, involves a plot where Team Rocket attempts to, get this, kidnap Santa Claus to steal their presents. By episode standards, this already makes it weird, but many people became upset with Santa's helpers in the Pokemon world, the ice Pokemon Jinx. Some people felt that with Jinx' pure black skin and large lips, that Jinx resembles too closely the act of blackface, an insensitive act that was often used to portray and humiliate African Americans. In theory, Jinx's appearance is supposed to be based on a popular Japanese fashion style. While I find it hard to believe that Jinx was created based on blackface, it is a very human-like Pokemon, and the sensitivity is understood. Holiday Hijinks was taken off the air, and a future episode, titled The Ice Cave, was removed from the air in the United States. Jinx has since then been officially recolored to purple. No real harm done, but it did leave us with some of the original Jinx episodes off the air for a while. Number 3 is Beauty at the Beach, and it's possibly the most popular and discussed ban episode by American fans, most likely due to its much higher sexualized content than Pokemon normally allows. As far as content, this episode has the most sensitive and graphic of any banned episode that I show, so please use some common sense and be mature about it. It was considered inappropriate for a reason, and while I do think that that reason is absolutely hilarious and out of place, I still believe that the content is unsuitable for children. If you're a young viewer, ask your parents first and see what they think. Anyways, let's get to the episode. Interestingly enough, this one has an English dub. I'll get more to that later. The episode starts with our friends at the beach, and right away we're dealing with some suggestive themes that are probably a little fuzzy among those for the young demographic of the show.
Hey!
Huh?
I thought you guys were gonna wait for me by the snack bar. How's the water? What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?
It's just weird to see you looking like a girl.
Ah! Well, see how weird this looks. Ah!
After this gag, the group somehow accidentally steals an entire boat due to a misunderstanding, crashes it into Team Rocket's Gyarados submarine, and absolutely wrecks the boat on a dock. This episode is just full of awkward moments.
A big mistake.
You remind me of my granddaughter.
We don't have any money, but we'd be happy to work to pay for any damages.
Ugh, doesn't this just sound like a setup to a poorly made adult film? Anyways, to help repay for the boat and dock, everyone helps out at a restaurant, and they mess that up too, and they end up being forced to enter Misty in a swimsuit competition in hopes of winning the prize money. Yes, you heard me right.
This is totally embarrassing and degrading, but we need the money.
Couldn't have been said better myself, Misty. While fan service episodes are pretty common in anime, Pokemon's demographic just isn't right for this kind of stuff. But the moment that really throws everything way off the deep end is this.
いいの。美しさには男も女もないの。
小砂利はお邪魔り、あっちへお行き。
さてと、サービスサービス。あ、それ。
突然乱入した大人のお姉さん組。自分は嫌いではありませんが、果たして観客の反応は。
Oh my god. What on earth were they thinking? Yes, James has cross-dressed before, but inflatable breasts is an all-new low. That moment there was enough to keep this episode off the release schedule in the United States. It probably would have been pretty sketchy for nighttime animation at the time, too. Long story short, Team Rocket attacks, gets thwarted, and somehow Ash's mom, of all people, wins the competition. This episode is so wrong, it's unbelievable, and that's why it gets so much hype around the dedicated fans. Pokemon eventually released Beauty and the Beast as a lost episode on TV, but it obviously cut away from the inflatable breasts gag. Even then though, the episode never saw an official release on VHS or DVD, making it a highly sought after video on the internet. Japan sure does make some crazy stuff. And moving to number 2 is The Legend of Dratini. While you could argue that the raunchier material of Beauty and the Beach is worse, I argue that because this episode wasn't even attempted for a release in English, that is much more secretive and nearly impossible to find at a decent quality. It took me a long time to find the original Japanese RAWs, and because of that, I don't have any subtitles for you guys to get the context. Just follow along with my narration, it's not that exciting of an episode, and let's see why this episode was banned in the first place. The Legend of Dratini is a really out-of-place one for a huge reason, which makes itself apparent right from the get-go. We start off with a bored Ash, Brock, and Misty singing while walking. Pretty innocent. Then all of a sudden... yeah, that happens. For God knows why, this episode wanted to be the gun episode. Not laser guns, not rocket launchers, not anything over the top and kid-friendly like that, just regular straight-up pistols. What the heck? This trigger-happy man is Kaiser, warden of the Safari Zone, and he makes it very clear what his favorite method of intimidation is. Jeez, guns to the head? Definitely dark and out of place for a kid's show. So anyways, as I was saying, the group goes to the Safari Zone and... what the heck? Okay, Team Rocket has guns too! Oh yeah, and Meowth is Hitler, that's great! I just don't get it, this episode's so out of place. The whole season we haven't seen a single gun, and now all of a sudden they're a central theme to the episode? I just don't understand. The plot itself is pretty simple. The group finds out there's a rare Dratini in the Safari Zone, Team Rocket wants it, gets stopped, etc. It'd make for a really simple and standard episode that no one would look twice at otherwise, but throw in a couple of guns to the head and Hitler, and you've got a rare treasure that was never released in the States. And finally, we've got Electric Soldier Porygon. Not only is it the first episode that was aired in Japan and then later taken down, but it also sent 600 children to the hospital. What? I'm pretty sure plenty of you have already heard this story, but for those of you who haven't, this is a great bit of Pokemon history. The date is December 16th, 1997, before the Pokemon games or anime even existed in North America yet. The episode, Electric Soldier Porygon. The episode itself is kind of interesting. Ash and his friends visit a Pokemon Center to do their usual healing roundup, but it turns out the Pokemon's transport system is broken and the Pokemon are getting lost in cyberspace. The eccentric, swirly-eyed computer programmer of a human transfer system starts freaking out, and it turns out that one of his Porygon, the computer Pokemon, has been stolen by Team Rocket, who are using Porygon to steal the Pokemon in mid-transit in cyberspace. He forces Ash and friends to take their own Porygon into the action to stop Team Rocket, and chaos ensues on the net. Everything up by thinking that both Ash and the company, and Team Rocket, are all viruses, and it becomes a race to escape before the antivirus guns them down. Here's where problems start falling into place, and there's no better argument for why this episode was a problem than what the own characters in the show said. It's too bright is right. This episode is full of careless strobe effect animations that actually do irritate my eyes, and while I didn't go into a seizure like they did, I'm going to do everything in my power to edit these upcoming scenes so that I don't somehow recreate the original problem. While I think that there are some light-sensitive issues throughout the episode, the big one that everyone points to is near the end of the conflict. The antivirus fires missiles at our crew, which prompts Pikachu to intercept them with a thunderbolt. The following explosion is a splash of red and blue so disturbing to the eye that I can't believe animators let it pass. Blue and red light simultaneously flash and alternate hundreds of times, taking close to the entire frame for around 5 seconds. I'm playing this clip in such a slow speed that the light effect couldn't possibly irritate your eyes that it originally did, but can you imagine how glaring this would be for a child? The light-intensive effect ended up bringing more than 600 Japanese children to hospitals due to epileptic seizure symptoms, and the whole incident brought serious repercussions. The first was that Pokemon was taken off the air for over 4 months, while Pokemon's animation techniques were thoroughly repaired. This caused a New Year's episode that was planned for release in the next week to be postponed, and eventually cancelled due to it no longer being anywhere close to New Year's anymore. When Pokemon finally did get back on the air, Japan's government banned the episode, never to be aired again. In addition, Porygon and all its evolutions have been seemingly cut from nearly all episodes of Pokemon afterwards, even though it was Pikachu's Thunderbolt that caused the mess in the first place. By the time Pokemon was finally released in the United States, many news-conscious adults remembered the seizure story and were skeptical of the show's treatment of light-sensitive explosion effects. There were many edits made to the episodes at this point and everything was fine, but the talk of forbidden episodes began circulating as fandom for the show exploded as a media phenomenon. Maddie Blostein, the voice of Meowth, claimed that an English dub and animation repair of the episode have been created, but Japan's government banning the episode prevented any other country from ever airing it again. It's a shame that the edited footage and dub will likely be lost forever somewhere with Warner Bros. Or 4Kids. Because of the mystery surrounding it, the damage it caused, and the secrecy of the footage, this episode marks my #1 banned Pokemon episode.
And that's about everything. Thanks for watching all these great banned episodes. I hope you enjoyed them in one way or another. Now, sometimes it's offensive, sometimes it's just way over the top, but altogether, I think we can look back and kind of laugh about how Japan's culture tackles a lot of these things very differently than the United States does. Most of this stuff definitely wouldn't fly today, and it's just interesting that Japan was able to pass it through, and we were never able to get it because of that. I think it makes for a great mysterious story, and now that the internet is this big network that we have today, I'm finally able to go back and show you guys some of these great missing pieces of Pokemon history. Now, this is also a kind of experiment for me. One of my big media projects this year for one of my classes is discussing how different media outlets can preserve or remove the rights of their content on the internet. Now, I wasn't 100% sure if this was the reason or not, but when I searched banned episodes on the internet, as far as YouTube, just learning about the episodes themselves, most content seems to be just stills. Now, I don't know if the videos aren't there because people don't possess these videos or haven't been able to find them, or if they were removed by the company. So we're going to see. Hopefully this video isn't removed, because as a fan, I think that this is really great stuff to share with the rest of the community. I've disabled all ads, all revenue, anything on this video that'll make me money, because I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in sharing this really cool material that most of you guys haven't seen before. Now, with these Japanese episodes, you can search them online and find them that way, but sometimes you just can't get the same context, you can't get the part English dub, part Japanese subtitles, that kind of, all that stuff, you can't get really with a very short search. So I'm hoping that by compiling all this stuff together, which I've been searching for about a year as far as just straight up compiling all this material, I really hope that it helps you guys out and that it's informative. My only goal here is to build the fan base of Pokemon and, add a little bit more information to it so it's interesting. There's a lot of fan-based arguments for all kinds of media cultures, from things like anime to video games to Harry Potter, any of that stuff. So we'll see how it goes, and maybe I'll get some interesting results for my media project. Until then, I really hope you enjoy all this content, and for the English episodes, you can get those on their official DVDs, even the Jinx episode. The only one that you can't get is Beauty and the Beach. For some reason, Pokemon never released that in any official media outlets, so the internet is the only place that you're ever going to be able to watch those. Anyways, thanks a ton for watching today's Pokemon Fact of the Day, and I hope you enjoy more in the future. Peace!